Welcome into another edition of Road to the Draft, coming to you from the Bucs studio, presented by Ticketmaster. Casey Phillips here with Scott Smith. And you know, Scott, last time we did some of the second round stuff, and we talked so much about that first round. We did a little pivot, but now we're back to it because we're getting closer. We know everyone wants to know who that first pick is going to be. So tell me what you have dialed up for us today.
Well, I'm looking at guys that you're seeing in a lot of mock drafts now. You know, things develop over the course of a couple months, and players you were seeing mocked to the Buccaneers in February, you don't see anymore, and it tends to get a little bit more focused. So I'm going to look at three guys that if you look at a bunch, there's a million mock drafts out there, right? If you look at a bunch of them, you'll see these three names coming up a lot, beginning with Jihaad Campbell.
All right, let's take a look at him.
Now, this is circling back to a player we actually looked at in our very first one of these. We got away from that a little bit, but I think I was charting mock drafts last week, and there was a span of 6 in a row that all had us taking him, and eight in a span of 13 mock drafts. So it's obviously a player that a lot of people think would do well for the Buccaneers.
Yep.
This is a 6'3", 235-pound off-ball linebacker who ran a 4.52 at the combine. He's a very rangy guy. He reads quarterbacks' eyes very well. He's smooth in his drops and pass coverage, which is very important. Obviously, something
that would make Todd Bowles happy.
Yeah, the Buccaneers are emphasizing with their linebackers right now. He has some edge rush juice too. There's a possibility that this guy could play off-ball linebacker for the most part, but occasionally see some reps off the edge, which would be nice to have that. I'm not saying he's Micah Parsons. I'm just saying he could give you a little bit of both.
Yeah, you know, Coach Bowles loves some versatility, loves the ability to mix things up. I mean, when you've had Vita Vea drop in coverage, you never know what Coach Bowles is going to want to do.
And he's only 21 also. So at the time of the draft, he'll be 21. So you're talking athletic, fast, rangy, and young.
And still young.
So there's a lot of upside potential there. Last year he had 117 tackles and 5 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, and he sprinkled in an interception as well.
Not bad.
What we're going to look at is one of his edge rush snaps, because we did talk about how he could potentially do that for the Buccaneers.
All right. Ooh, can I circle?
You can. Go ahead.
I think we should divide it in half.
It's only my favorite part.
I mean, okay, I'll let you do the other two. I just want this first one. It's over here.
Number 11. Now, he's kind of, you know, he's standing up, but he's not exactly right on the line, right? So his intentions are a little bit unclear at this point. He's not like, this guy's clearly rushing the passer, right? So, but look what he does. Kind of creeps up and then he takes off. He's got, you know, he's locked in with that guy, but he manages to fight him off and get around him. So that's pretty cool. We're going to see this from the back angle as well, and you'll see the power that he has right there. And then he's able to disengage and get around the corner and underneath him.
That's great.
Yeah, so obviously it'd be nice to have a player that could give you something in that regard.
Yep. All right, so now this next guy, first of all, great names today you've chosen. I'm already a big fan of this. Tell me who we got here from Boston College.
So this is Donovan Ezeiruaku. It's really not that hard to pronounce. Just don't read it when you
just don't look at it.
This is a pass rusher. This is an edge rusher, a position a lot of people think the Buccaneers will go to even after signing Hassan Reddick. And the reason he's been falling to the Buccaneers a lot more often lately, or going to the Buccaneers at pick number 19. In fact, in my mock draft last week, we talked about it last week. This is who I gave the Buccaneers. And that's because, in general, this is a guy you weren't seeing in the first round of mock drafts like in February, but his stock has risen. He did a pretty good job at the combine in the agility drills. Add that to his production. He had 16.5 sacks last year, which is second only to Mike Green in the nation. 21 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles. We know how much Todd wants that.
Yep.
He's a newly popular pick in the last couple of weeks in Buccaneer mock drafts, including, you know, Scott Reynolds from the Peter Report right here. They picked Donovan Ezeiruaku. So as I said last week, I think this is the kind of prospect the Buccaneers would like when they're choosing an edge rusher, because you talk about potential versus production. Obviously, you'd like to have both, and this guy, I think, has both. Against a guy, say, like Shamar Stewart, an extremely talented guy who blew away the combine from Texas A&M, but only had 4.5 sacks over 3 seasons at A&M. Ezeiruaku had this 16.5 sack season. He had an 8.5 sack season a couple of years ago as well. So there's definitely production.
Yeah, we've seen that consistency over a few years as well.
Great thing about them, he's got a lot of pass rush moves already. He's got a really good bend to get around the corner, which we're going to see on some of these highlights. And he's good at, he sets up his moves, as we'll see.
Okay. I like
remember when we drafted Kalijah Cansey, and he talked about how he had plans. He had pass rush plans. He would study tape, and he had ideas of moves he was going to put together. I think he might have the same kind of player here, but off the edge with Ezeiruaku. So let's get to his. He is right here on my side of the board.
I'll let you. We just need a line that draws right down the middle for your territory and mine.
And you'll see The spin move. Loves the spin move, right?
That's great.
And he set that move up. This next clip actually looks like it looks like almost the same thing.
Yeah.
This is him over here again. You can circle him if you want.
Thank you.
We can take that back a little bit here. This is going to look, I thought at first that this was the same play as the last one,
Yeah,
just from a different angle. It's very similar, and you'll see these series of moves, which is what I like about this one. So he does a good job with here, keeping the hands off him, and then does the spin move and wipes him away with the back arm. That's a whole lot of moves together, and it looks like probably was very much planned. Now, we got one more here. Come on your side there, if you want to give him a little circle. And here you just see the great bend. He's got that explosion around the corner, and that's what you want, right? You don't want a player that only has that, because then you're going to spend your whole life watching him run around the back of the play, right?
Yep.
But sometimes he's going to be able to give you that, but he also has a lot of moves
to be able to spin back to the inside.
To do other things. Yes, exactly, Casey. Exactly right. All right, one more guy to look at.
Again, with the names, I love it.
It's long, but it's not that hard.
I just really like it.
Nick Emmanwori. Nick Emmanwori.
I like it. Okay,
South Carolina.
So South Carolina, again, we've gone full defense today,
yeah.
I noticed.
Still, it's what everybody thinks.
Still what a lot of people are predicting. Yep, so now, but 3 different positions, essentially, which is kind of cool. So now it looks like we have a safety.
This is one that I'm seeing in a handful of mock drafts of the Buccaneers now, and I understand it because Jordan Whitehead is obviously not back. You have Christian Izien and you have Tyke Smith, both of whom could be the starting safety next to Antoine Winfield, but they're also capable of playing other roles. And if you added another safety who you think could start right away, then you got all that flexibility, right? And you're going to need depth, as we saw last year in the secondary. Now, I would caution, in 49 previous Buccaneer drafts, they've taken a safety in the first round one time, and that was Mark Barron in 2012. Didn't really work out that well. When you think about it, the Buccaneers got Antoine Winfield in the second round. They got John Lynch in the third round. They got Dexter Jackson, Super Bowl MVP, in the fourth round. Dwight Smith was a third-round pick. You can find safeties on day 2, which is why I think they don't often go on day 1. But this is kind of a special player. He's big, 6'3". I've seen 220 here. I've also seen 227. I guess it depends on when and where
he's
weighed in. But he ran a 4.38 at the combine, which is extremely good for a safety.
Yeah.
And really, if you added all the drills together, he basically tested out as the most athletic safety ever.
Wow.
At the combine. Now combine that with the fact that this guy's a hitter. He's like a hybrid linebacker safety almost. He plays like a linebacker when you're going against the run. He's a very aggressive, hard-hitting, sure-tackling hitter.
Which would be nice next to an Antoine Winfield. That I feel like they would complement each other so well.
He could come in the box a lot more, but he also had 6 interceptions over the last 2 years. So this is a guy who finds the ball. He had 88 tackles and 4 picks last year. So clearly an impactful player. And after the combine, his stock started to go through the roof. So let's take a look at his. He's playing, it almost looks like, I think this would be a zone because there's 2 receivers there and 3 defenders. But you see him react really quickly to the ball. And that's obviously something that you want. So the instincts are there and the production is there. And here, same play from a different angle, just how quickly he fires down on the ball and diagnoses
and went for that ball for sure. That guy hadn't hit him so hard.
So there's 3 guys that, there's a decent chance at least one of those will be available to the Buccaneers. And if you look at mock drafts, that's 3 very good options for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I think that all 3 of those would have Bucs fans pretty excited for sure. All right, we still have a few more of these Road to the Drafts coming up before it at the end of the month, so stay right here with us, and we'll see you next time.